Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to That's Some BS, the channel, and in today's video, I wanted to review the Dahmer show. Now, I did kind of do a video, like, overall, giving my thoughts on the idea of the show, but no, I did finish the show, actually, some days ago, and yeah, that show, man, that is, that was a pretty dark show. Like, I haven't seen too many dark shows and dark movies before, but that show, it was more so like not the scenes so much, but just knowing that it was real. That's what got to me the most. And yeah, like that's a show where I'm like, I think if they were to do another show about some serial killer to that extent, I don't personally think that I will watch it. Like, it doesn't really take a lot, for me to get creeped out and weirded out by a show, but like to know that people went through that crap, like, man. And the thing is this: I knew who Jeffrey Dahmer was. I knew what he had did. I guess I just didn't really think about it too much, but to see and to like know, like, it's insane. Like, the show, it's see, here's the thing, because like I want to say that it was a good show, but I mean, like, I guess, like, more so like everybody had a good performance for the show, but like the idea and what that show is, like, yeah, it's pretty dark. You gotta be a dark-minded individual to have enjoyment out of it, and it was more so, I guess, like, overall, I could have just, read about him, read books, watched documentaries and all that stuff to just, overall know. But it's like when you see an image of it and then to like actually, like, you're thinking like, hey, yo, he really did this. He really, like, and like, the stuff is like acted out and it ain't real and all that stuff. But then it's like, man, but to just know that it's based off of something that actually had happened, like, yeah, it was a dark show. I don't usually say that too much about shows and movies. Like, I feel like I've seen a lot of different crazy TV shows and movies, but that, like, man, that's something where it's just, like, after every episode I did kind of like read a little bit more and more about Jeffrey Dahmer, and it was like, wow, like, man, it's a dark, all I'm going to say is that it's a dark show. I'm not going to get into details, about like each and every episode, but no, it was some dark stuff that was being shown. And it's like, then when you read and it says, yeah, the stuff that was happening in that show, he actually did that. It's like, man, like, and I know people are probably wondering or asking, like, what can cause somebody to do that? And really, it's just, they kind of discussed it in the show. And I'm going to just leave it up to you. I mean, all right, so you know what the thing is this. Like, if you don't want to watch the show, I very well understand that. But if you're wondering, like, what is the answer to that question? Like, what causes a man to do the things that he did? I honestly feel like that Jeffrey Dahmer was abandoned. I'm not saying, like, he had, like, that was a legitimate reason, for what he did. But I do feel like that there was a cause, and then an effect was, overall what he did. But no, he seemed like that he had abandonment issues and stuff. And yeah, overall it was, it took a toll on him. And cause it just, like, how he was acting, it was like, bruh. And then I think, once when he got to prison, it was like, I feel like that he really started, not, well, all right, how can I place this in words? Like, cause when he was out of prison, like, he was gone. Like, they kind of made it seem like he had like an alcohol issue, but I'm like, no, that's like he had something else going on. But alcohol, like, was just there and things. I feel like that there's people out there that drink a lot of alcohol, but they don't do the things that he did. So I feel like that little detail on the show, like, if he really was drinking that badly, then yeah, like he, they should have been checking him out like long beforehand, like, really doing something to help him. But yeah, for one, there wasn't nobody there to help him. I mean, there wasn't really nobody there at all. And then, him learning about some things, like, I'm not going to get into detail on what it was, but I feel like him learning some things is what caused him to become the person that he was, and so, yeah, then it was like when he got into prison, I do feel like that he at some point in time had to have realized like what I did, like that's not normal. I even feel like even like or before that, before he even got sent to prison, like, right when he got arrested and stuff. Yeah, it's like I think that's when he knew like it was. But I mean, he had to know prior beforehand, and he was just overall waiting to get caught. I mean, they did kind of discuss that. It's like, I mean, if you just gotta watch the show. I imagine like anybody that has watched the show, like that's why you're probably coming to this video just to overall see what I have to say about it. But yeah, like it's just, man, like it's crazy. Like I know people gonna probably ask like, did I like the show overall? It's not a show that I will go back and watch. All I'm gonna say is that, the actors, they did a really good performance. But it's too dark of a show for me to like go and sit back down and watch all over again. Like, I don't even want to watch like scenes of it on YouTube or nothing. Cause like with most movies and TV shows, like there's always those scenes where I'm like, oh man, like that was such a good scene. Like there was nothing good about that show. Like, I mean, it was like I said, great performance from the actors, all like praises to what they had did, because it really made you feel like you were sitting down and like watching all of this stuff happen. So that's why I feel like to me it was just like, it's just too dark to go through that all over again and stuff. And I'm like, I just not a show I'll go back and watch. Like I will probably watch a documentary if new details come out. If they talk about it in a documentary or it's just read out somewhere, then okay. But yeah, it's a show like that. It's just it's too creepy to sit down and watch all over again. And this is coming from somebody that can sit down, watch some of the most craziest movies of all time, and not feel nothing. But nah, with that Jeffrey Dahmer show, it was like, man, it sucked to know that people went through that and stuff. So yeah, like all prayers out to the victims' families. One thing for sure though is that Netflix should have paid those families. Netflix should have got some like sort of calling out or something to those families. I mean, if they're hard to reach out to, then it's like, just kind of mention it. But like the victims, but don't like have scenes in there involving the victims, or at least like just overall, like, because I think that's more so why people, or like why the victims are coming out is and talking about it, is because like you got somebody portraying to be your son on that show. And I imagine like you go and watch it and you see somebody acting like your son and stuff. Yeah, that would be dark. Or somebody that looked like your son. Yeah, I imagine that would be pretty dark to watch and stuff. And it's like, dang, and it's like, man, I can only imagine with the victims, like that actually had to deal with that type of stuff. What they had to, because I think there was one victim. It was the one, she was in court. And she was like yelling, and she approached like Jeffrey Dahmer's table and was going off on him and stuff. I think it was her, where she said that she had seen her episode, and it was like, I think she was overall saying it's like crazy to sit down and see that and stuff. So like I can only imagine like what the victims are, what's going through their mind if they did actually sit down and watch the show. But I imagine they probably didn't, because it's like I lived it. I know what happened and stuff. I was there. So like, yeah, and it's, then coming from somebody, a viewer or watcher myself, it's like, yeah, that was definitely one of the, like, if not one, it's probably definitely the most darkest like show, movie, whatever you want to call it. That, well, I mean, it is a TV show, so overall, like, it's just overall the darkest like entertainment that I've ever watched, like, possible, and things. I can't think of anything else that I've seen that was dark. Like, there were at times like where I would watch certain shows and movies, And I'm like, okay, like, that's enough. Like, dang, move on to the next scene and stuff. Like, if it's too dark and too creepy and stuff, I'm like, okay, that's enough. Like, all right, continue on. Like, you know, it ain't gotta drag on for that long. But with that show, it's like you're sitting down and you're literally like suffering, you know, waiting for the show. Like me, that's why, like, when the show, when finally, like, when me and my family, when we had watched the final episode, I'm like, thank God, I ain't gotta, like, I don't want to watch that show no more. I was like, that's definitely a show where I'm like, nah, I don't care for watching that show. That's a show, it's like you only need to see it one time and that's it. So but anyways, yeah, and let me know in the comment sections how you felt about the show. If you how, like, I don't know, it's not a show I can say I can like. I could just overall say that the actors had did a good performance, but it ain't something, it's just the idea of this show. Maybe if it was fictional, like if it wasn't based on a true story and stuff, then I'll probably be all like, oh yeah, that show, it was crazy good. Like, oh, I mean, it's wild to think, so, you know, to like, but it was good. But to know that, like, that stuff actually happened, I can't say that it was a good show. So I'm just, yeah, like I said, just good performance, but, you know, just overall show, yeah, it's crazy. But anyways, yeah, talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching, like, subscribe, and peace.